You're listening to the Shameless LA We Win Wednesdays podcast. Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via Zoom. ID and passcode details are listed in our description. Welcome and thank you for listening. My name is Koji, and I'm an adult child from a dysfunctional home. Adult Children of Alcoholics, ACA from Dysfunctional Families, is a 12-step 12 tradition program of men and women who grew up in dysfunctional homes. We meet to share our experience of growing up in an environment where abuse, neglect, and trauma infected us. This affects us today and influences how we deal with all aspects of our lives. ACA provides a safe, non-judgmental environment that allows us to grieve our childhoods and conduct an honest inventory of ourselves and our family, so we may identify and heal core trauma, experience freedom from shame and abandonment, and become our own loving parents. Tonight, you can expect to hear Tony A's 12 Steps, our speaker share, and the 12 Promises. These brief shares were recorded with permission during the LA Shameless We Win Wednesdays meeting. Tony A's 12 Steps. Step 1. We admitted we were powerless over the effects of living with alcoholism and that our lives had become unmanageable. Step 2. We came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could bring us clarity. Step 3. We made a decision to practice self-love and to trust in a higher power of our understanding. Step 4. We made a searching and blameless inventory of our parents because, in essence, we had become them. Step 5. We admitted to our higher power, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our childhood abandonment. Step 6. We were entirely ready to begin the healing process with the aid of our higher power. Step 7. We humbly asked our higher power to help us with our healing process. Step 8. We became willing to open ourselves to receive the unconditional love of our higher power. Step 9. We became willing to accept our own unconditional love by understanding that our higher power loves us unconditionally. Step 10. We continued to take personal inventory and to love and approve of ourselves. Step 11. We sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with our higher power, praying only for knowledge of its will for us and the power to carry it out. And number 12, we have had a spiritual awakening as a result of taking these steps, and we continue to love ourselves and to practice these principles in all our affairs.
Welcome.
Welcome, Vanessa.
Okay, thanks everyone. Thanks for having me back. I don't know how long it's been since I've been here, and I'm in the middle of my work day in Sydney. So I just got off a client and my doorbell rang. My puppy hopped in the bathtub with the water in, and it was all happening 2 minutes before this meeting started. And it was like, God is not on my side today. That's what I was thinking. God is not listening or hearing or seeing me today. I'm an adult child of an alcoholic. My mum's an alcoholic. My dad was an adult child of alcoholics. And I had children with two addicts. So I think I more than qualify. I think my resume would definitely tick all the boxes, as all the adult child behaviors and the vulnerabilities that come with that. I've got a reading today, which I've just gone rogue here, guys. I've got a reading out of the adult child book from Al-Anon, because that was my original program. So, but it's written specifically for adult children. Alcoholism is a thief. It robs us of our loved ones. It pickpockets job opportunities, close relationships, and physical safety. In my mother's case, it eventually stole her life. Alcoholism robbed my childhood of trust and security. I grew up feeling like a counterfeit adult, well adjusted on the outside, but lost and frightened on the inside. In program, I've learned that even without ever taking a drink, I struggle with the effects of the disease of alcoholism. They can rob my life of the joy each day holds. Denial steals me from the ability to see my situation clearly and honestly. Stubborn self-reliance wipes out the guidance and comfort available from a higher power. Resentment erodes love and goodwill in my relationships with others. Obsessive worrying raids my willingness to accept and enjoy life just as it is. Hope comes in the words of the second step. My higher power can restore me to sanity. But I once believed this was lost, my sanity and serenity. I'm not promised that my loved ones will find sobriety or get well. What I am offered, however, is the gift waiting for me in the form of the program, which fills the void carved into my mind and heart by the disease of alcoholism. I have a program to practice with the help of my higher power, who restores me to mental, emotional, and spiritual health one day at a time. Thought for the day. What has alcoholism or dysfunction stolen from my life? What can my higher power help me regain? Doesn't letting your higher power run your life make more sense than letting somebody else's illness run it? I just opened that and found that reading and it really spoke to me. So I'm not going to bang on too much about, is the clock starting? Can't see it. Please start the clock because otherwise I'll bore you all senseless.
We're working
Okay.
behind the scenes, Vanessa. We don't have a clock on.
Oh, okay. All right. No worries. Okay, cool. Okay. So I really want to talk about the solution today because my own story bores me and I really don't want to bore other people either. But I'll touch a little bit on it that my mum wasn't always a drinking alcoholic. Um, My father passed away about 2, 3 years ago now, probably 3 years ago, at 69, and he was a police sergeant, but my parents divorced when I was 8. My mum's still kicking alive, couldn't kill her with an axe, I like to say, and still drinking like a fish, and on no medications, but I'm pretty sure everyone around her's on Prozac. And I find that's the disease of alcoholism, that the person who is drinking or in active addiction of any shape can really dysregulate the people around them. For me, it was because I was a child that I just grew up in this chaotic, one minute it was idyllic childhood, everything was fine. We went to church, I went to a Catholic primary school. Next thing, mum's gone, I'm living with dad and a stepmother who can't stand me. So and I changed schools. I went to 5 different high schools. And then eventually my mum came back and she'd remarried an English man. And I sort of thought that this was all normal, but I knew it was dysfunctional. But I also knew that I just had to turn myself into someone to fit in. I was an only child. I always had faith in a God, a higher power. I had it way before I even went to school, a Catholic school. I just always knew there was something beyond this world. And for me, I wouldn't have stayed in any program without the spiritual component because I don't believe without the spiritual component I can get well. And I don't believe that when really awful things happen in my life, that a person's going to get me out of it. And I sure as hell am not going to be able to think my way out of it because my best thinking got me in very dysfunctional, violent relationships. And my best thinking got me into situations that were dangerous because I didn't know how to protect myself. And I actually didn't even know it was a thing. I have a very naive part inside of me that's very childlike. And if I said to somebody wanting to do the ACA program, I would say 2 things. I would say, come to meetings, come to strong meetings, come to meetings where there's healthy people and healthy recovery. And I would also say, do the Loving Parent Guidebook. Because for me, that's where the solution is. The Loving Parent Guidebook, it has all the things in it that I believe adult children need to know to get well. And it also introduces, well, for me, it introduced me to my inner family that I needed to understand that I was becoming blended with. And I was making decisions from the 9-year-old who lost her mum, lost her home, lost her grandparents, or I was making decisions from the 17-year-old who was rebellious and angry, but incredibly smart, but she had poor strategy. And then the more I dug in, the more inner family, the more inner 30-year-olds, the more people showed up. And it felt like I was in a modern movie of Sybil. That's how I felt. For me today, every single day, without fail, I know that when I wake up in the morning, I'm waking up in not the Vanessa who's 55 years old, who has a profession, who is a mother, who is a grandmother, who I am very aware of my house because of my mortgage and all my bills, but I'm not waking up in that adult state. I wake up usually overwhelmed, usually sometimes depressed or anxious, and I have to really fight my way out of that each and every day. And I'd like to say it goes away. It gets a bit better and I have better strategies. And for me, I threw everything at myself. I threw Al-Anon, I threw ACA, I threw therapy, I've thrown medication. For me, I need all of it. And I need God. Because I have been so injured that some of my wounds will probably be with me to the day I die. What has happened is they've wound down that they don't cripple me to the point where I want to top myself anymore. I know that it'll pass. I know that this is a bad situation. And I know that other people do affect me. And as an adult child with a lot of empathy and a personality of high conscientiousness, I am a natural people pleaser. I'm a people pleaser, but the pathological part of it is I go into fawning and I will fawn, but there's a special little invisible contract underneath the fawning that I've only really just been able to articulate. And the contract is, I will keep you happy if you keep me safe. Now, if that's the contract and I'm going out with using addicts, you can imagine how that turned out. There's a very poor strategy involved because the 9-year-old needs to be safe. The 17-year-old is really pretty angry about anyone who betrays or lies or does any of the things that I don't think are kind and good. But I couldn't help myself that I had my survival mechanisms were fawn or fight. And the fawn was natural. It's my go-to. It's how I survived. And around a narcissistic mother, it was fawn or be left. And my mum wasn't joking about leaving. She would leave. And she did it repeatedly, even when she did come back. And to this day, if I have a conversation with my mum, I fawn. But today, I do it consciously to keep myself safe. I'm not falling into it as just the natural of who I am, which is my false self. I'm falling into it before I make the call or before I answer the call. We fawn. We fawn to keep the system safe. And this, for me today, is healing. There's people I don't want to fawn with anymore. I don't want to. Their values don't align with mine. But I didn't even know what my values were. I thought that, oh, okay, you believe that. I should believe that. Maybe we'll just mismatch it and get along and just, we'll all play nicely in the sandpit. Well, I don't know, guys. We just have to look at the world to know that that's not a thing, right? We're not all playing nicely in the sandpit. But the little girl in me really believes that that's a thing. I be nice, you be nice. We have morals, we have values that we think are good and kind, and so do you, right? And then, no, that's not right. And the inner child in me is devastated about that. And she's devastated every day. I have an adult daughter that drinks. I have an adult daughter that is unfortunately somewhat like my mother that I've had recent run-ins with about my grandchildren. And I love my daughter with my whole heart, and I did not drink. I tried everything to recreate a different childhood for her. But there the disease is. And she uses her children as pawns and weapons. And it breaks my heart in ways that I didn't think my heart could be broken any more than it already has been. And yet I know that underneath that, she's my daughter. And what I don't want to do is reverse and regress into being my mother, who's mean and nasty and will tell me everything wrong with me. I just want to be an adult who loves her daughter despite her bad behavior. And that's who I need to be today. And that's through ACA, through praying, through having a sponsor. I still have a sponsor in Al-Anon. I find the sponsoring in ACA tricky. It's just really tricky. I don't really like the fellow traveler model. I think it's a bit shit, to be quite honest. I like wiser, older people who have walked before me. That's what I need in my life. I need mentors. And the older I'm getting, there's getting fewer and fewer. But I need mentors. I need to know that you know this path and you've walked it and you've lived it and you've got through it and you're still in one piece. Oh, was that the 15?
You
Yeah,
have 1 minute.
1 minute. Okay, thanks, guys. So I'll just wrap up. I'm just going to go completely rogue again. I started listening to the Liz Gilbert book, where she comes out as a codependent, slurry, all the things. And I've got to say that the reason I actually just love that she's done this, and it's not a promotion for Liz Gilbert's new book or anything, but what I love about this is the Eat, Pray, Love movie went straight into my romantic little child who thinks we're all just going to, meet someone, grow happily ever after, live in a little house with a white picket fence, and I'll recapture my childhood. And the Eat, Pray, Love movie showed me that that might happen. Her new book, which is more raw, more honest, shows me, well, that was a load of shit because it's not real. The cost of community is irritation. And that's what I'm learning today. I can be irritated, but it doesn't mean I don't still love you. And it doesn't mean you don't have good things about you. But it does mean that if the cost of the community goes straight up against my core values, I know myself enough through doing that the loving guide book. I know what my values are today. And for that, I'm incredibly grateful. Thank you.
The 12 Promises of ACA. Promise 1. We will discover our real identities by loving and accepting ourselves. Promise 2. Our self-esteem will increase as we give ourselves approval on a daily basis. Promise 3. Fear of authority figures and the need to people please will leave us. Promise 4. Our ability to share intimacy will grow inside us. Promise 5. As we face our abandonment issues, we will be attracted by strengths and become more tolerant of weaknesses. Promise 6. We will enjoy feeling stable, peaceful, and financially secure. Promise 7. We will learn how to play and have fun in our lives. Promise 8. We will choose to love people who can love and be responsible for themselves. Promise 9. Healthy boundaries and limits will become easier for us to set. Promise 10. Fears of failure and success will leave us as we intuitively make healthier choices. Promise 11. With help from our ACA support group, we will slowly release our dysfunctional behaviors. Promise 12. Gradually, with our higher power's help, we learn to expect the best and get it.
You're listening to the Shameless LA We Win Wednesdays podcast. Join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time via Zoom. ID and passcode details are listed in our description.
You deserve to be loved.